All right, today I'm going to do another how-to video, and I'm going to teach you how I tune into frequencies in the field. So when Dr. Joe tells you in a meditation to tune into a frequency, he'll do that in the blessing of the energy center, and he wants you to tune into a certain frequency. Also, he may want you to tune into the energy of the mystic or health or to your future or things like that. So to give a little background, everything in the universe vibrates at a certain frequency. So everything that you see around you has its own frequency, but also every thought has a frequency, every emotion has a frequency. Every opportunity that exists out in the field has its own unique frequency. Now, I know it's kind of hard to fathom, but that's just how it is in the 5D world. But the way that I have tuned into it, it takes a little practice, and everybody's going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to give you my tips on how I do it. So when I first started trying to tune into frequencies, we mostly know of frequencies in a two-dimensional form. So when you look at audio on a monitor, you'll see a bunch of waveforms, and it'll go up and down, up and down. That's the energy, that's the frequencies, okay? That's how frequent it goes up, down, up, down, up, down. So those frequencies really are actually a three-dimensional form. Now, if you've ever seen the cymatics before, cymatics are done different ways. It's oftentimes a speaker or something will be put underneath, and then right on top they'll have like a plate of water or sand. And as the speaker vibrates, now they just do one certain frequency, not like a song, a certain frequency, then that frequency will actually make a cool pattern. And you'll realize, kind of like snowflakes, that every frequency has its own unique little pattern, just like every snowflake is unique and different. And now you're still seeing it on a two-dimensional form, but you're seeing that these beautiful patterns actually exist in these frequencies. Now, when the frequency is not coherent, it's just kind of jumbled and kind of messed up. But when it's tuned right into that specific frequency, it's beautiful in there. So now take that flat picture of the beautiful pattern and make it like a ball, and that's actually how frequencies exist. Now, we don't see that. I mean, you could even imagine like the radio frequency coming from a tower, and it's like I imagined it like coming in like a bolt of lightning or something like that, just like waves running through the air, because that's just what we're visually used to seeing. But really, it's all three-dimensional and it's all around us. So when I first started trying to tune in frequencies, I imagined what I'm used to, frequencies like, up and down lines. So as I closed my eyes, I just saw like little lines and frequencies like that. And I'd try to find I'd imagine a bunch of different lines kind of all around me. And then I tried to find the specific one. Let's just say we're tuning into abundance. So I'm looking for abundance. And then I find it. And what's weird is I think because I have the intention of trying to find that specific frequency, that my body actually finds it. Even though I'm just visualizing a waveform and it doesn't probably really exist as a waveform, I'm intentionally putting out that intention. I mean, imagination is really what you do when you imagine and tune into these different things. You're using your imagination, but the imagination is really, I guess you could say, your subconscious. So I find a waveform out there. I tune into it and I almost can pinpoint it, and it's like I kind of follow it. It may be off to the side, maybe in front of me or something, but I'll pinpoint it. And then he asks you to draw it to you. And so I kind of imagine that waveform coming towards me until it eventually hits me. And now when I do it, it almost kind of hits my body a little bit, and I can almost kind of feel like a little bit of a tingling or a vibration kind of going through me. Now, if waveform isn't your thing, another thing that I've done, and I always kind of alternate it, and I still alternate it because it's just different every time, is I imagine like an orb. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of an orb, but orb's just kind of like it's this little ball of light, and it's kind of whoa, and it has maybe some little lines kind of coming out around it or something. And so that's like a little ball of light. And so sometimes I will think of like stars maybe. You see a bunch of little ones all around, and then one seems to kind of stand out at me, and I'm like, okay, that's abundance. I need to tune into that one. And then I tune into it, and I draw it near me, and then sometimes I kind of feel it. There's sometimes it really shakes me, and I'm like, whoa, and sometimes I may even kind of laugh or something like that. It's kind of interesting. Once it hits you, he oftentimes will tell you, let's say, for example, you're tuning into abundance, and then he wants you to feel like an emotion attached to that, because oftentimes when you're trying to tune into something in the future, you need to have the emotion that that thing has already happened. So for that to happen, you have to feel the emotion. So it may be a specific emotion. So let's say for abundance, just say, I don't know, gratitude, because gratitude is like, he always says gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving. If you're grateful for things, if you're thankful for things, that's just showing that you're like, thank you for these things. And then it just, you feel like it's already been done and you're thankful for it. So gratitude is a really good emotion to tune into. And so you tune into that specific emotion. So you found abundance and now you're tuning into the emotion. There's a couple other ones where he actually wants you to tune into the event that is going to happen, but it already exists out there in the field. You don't know what it is. So let's just say you're trying to get a new house or something like that, or a new job, and you really don't know what that job looks like, and you don't know how that opportunity is going to come to you, but you can just imagine the opportunity. You're just tuning into the opportunity out there, and that opportunity will then come to you. So now that's if you're like tuning into something specific in your future or tuning into health or something like that, which seems a little easier. Some people struggle a little bit with the blessings of the energy centers because they'll say tune into that frequency. And it's like, what am I tuning into? The frequency of the energy center? You don't quite know. So what I like to think of is the energy centers as like a guitar, okay? So when you have a guitar, you have, here, I got a guitar right here. So when you have the guitar, you have the different guitar strings, okay? And so pretend each of the guitar strings is one of your energy centers. And you know, whenever you have all of this in tune, it sounds wonderful and beautiful. It makes boom, beautiful music, right? So it's the same thing with your energy centers. If your energy centers are all lined up and all tuned in exactly where they need to be, then your body is just going to be so beautiful and so perfect and just one and whole and just all that perfection that you're always striving to have. Okay? But you know, you need a tune-up, just like a car needs a tune-up. You need to tune the guitar every time you use it, right? So you basically need to do a tune-up. That's why it's really good to do the blessings of the energy centers often. So I don't have this tuned right now, and you'll be able to tell. You see how it's just like, it's just off, okay? It just doesn't sound right. So I have to go through and I have to tune each one of these strings to the correct note. And once I tune it to the correct note, then it's going to play that beautiful music whenever I strum it. So now, how do you know how to tune into that particular note? Well, for example, you need to tune into E, right, on here. So you need to get something that's going to tune into E, okay? This isn't E right now, but I can get some kind of tuner like a whistle or like an app on my phone that will actually have that frequency, and it'll match the two frequencies, and it'll tell you when it matches exactly. So that's kind of what you're doing when you're doing the blessings of the energy centers, is you're tuning into that frequency. You don't really know what that frequency is, although a lot of people will say that the energy centers do have certain hertz, a certain frequency that they tune to. You can imagine that, or you can just imagine, okay, I'm tuning into the frequency of my throat center, and then just look for throat center, just like look for that out in the field. He even says inside of you, because it is inside of you, it's just off, you know, so you're just trying to get that balance. And something that's neat, I don't have tuning forks that are identical, but I don't know if you've ever seen this online where people will take tuning forks and they'll have two tuning forks of the exact same frequency. And when you ding the one, so you have the one frequency, and then if this was the exact, this is 174. So if I was to take another fork that was 174, you can look up this on YouTube. There's a lot of videos on it. If I have another tuning fork that's 174, and I put them side by side, then this one, if this was 174, just like this one would automatically just start vibrating on its own. It just resonates because it's tuned to that frequency, and it feels that frequency out there, and it just tunes it, and it starts vibrating itself to that frequency. And that's ideally what you're doing when you're tuning in your energy centers Or when you're tuning into the energy of health, you're like looking for health out there. So, you know, say this is health and you're like, oh, there's health, and you're tuning into it, and then you need to bring it to you and you need to feel that vibration in your body. Same thing with your energy centers. You know, let's say you're trying to tune into the energy center. Say this is the 5th energy center. So this is out here dinging, out here, ding, and it's sending out that vibration. And right now, let's say the 5th energy center is not tuned to that. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to feel that vibration, and then eventually it'll kind of adjust itself. Think of it being like off to the side. Another way to think of it, think of a radio tuner, okay? So you're dialing in the dial on the radio, okay? You're trying to get to 99.1, and you're at 99.3. So you're at 99.3, and it's like, and it's kind of coming in, but not quite. So you're not quite there, and you're not going to hit it. Same thing with these tuning forks. This is 174. If I had 175 right next to it, it would not vibrate. It has to be the exact same matching frequency in order for them to vibrate together. And that's what you're doing. You're looking for that frequency and you're bringing it to you, and you have to tune it exactly to that frequency. That's why you're bringing that to you, and that vibrating will just come, and eventually it'll start to resonate. I know for me, when I do the blessings of the energy centers, sometimes when it hits my body, I'll start to shake, or I'll like kind of like if it's like my 3rd center or something, sometimes my gut kind of like goes in or something like that, because it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's not quite right, and it's trying to work out the kinks in it, trying to get that tune just right. And then, you know, if you have the kundalini energy like me, it kind of straightens itself out, and then when it kind of moves smooth, that's when it's a lot better, and you know that, or I know that it's all tuned in. Now, some of you may not be able to feel all these things when you're tuning in. It's really more about the intention of trying to tune in and bring it to you. I mean, just like these tuning forks, like you can hear it, but then over time, you really can't hear it, but it's still vibrating. Like I can still feel it vibrating, and it's going to be vibrating this vibrates for almost a minute. It's still vibrating, but you can't hear it. Same thing, you're tuning in out there, and you may not be able to feel it, but it's still out there. It's still sending that signal, just like radio frequencies, cell phone, Wi-Fi. Do you feel your Wi-Fi signal? Now, some of you might be sensitive. You actually might feel your Wi-Fi signal. But can you put your hand in front of your Wi-Fi and actually feel the Wi-Fi? No, but you know it's there because your phone or your tablet is picking up that Wi-Fi signal. So it's the same thing. It's okay if your body doesn't feel the vibration out there, as long as you're putting out that intention and you're focus on bringing it into wherever you're supposed to bring it into. Like if you're just bringing it into your heart, then that's all that matters. So those are my tips on what I do. If any of you guys have any other suggestions on how you tune in, then I'd be more than happy to hear about it. And thank you very much for watching.